Dr. Pavitra Bharadwaj. I work as an associate professor in the Department of Computer Science, Jesus and Mary College, University of Delhi. So friends, in this series we are talking about web programming, and we have already discussed in detail about HTML, CSS, and in the last few lectures we are talking in depth about JavaScript and the different constructs which JavaScript provides programmers for writing robust programs that can be used for input validation, that can be used for writing simple scripts, that can be used for giving customized user experiences to the website users or the viewers of our website. So we were talking about the different kinds of relational operators which are there, which are provided by JavaScript. In this context, we had spoken about the equality and the identity operators, which are very important. That is, equality is equal to, and identity is equal to. That is, 3 times the equal to operator is used without any space. Then we had also spoken about the comparison operators, that is the less than and the greater than, the less than equal to and the greater than equal to operators. Now we are going to have a look at the logical operators which are provided by JavaScript. So as you know, it's well known that there are 3 types of logical operators which are provided, which are very commonly used in almost all programming constructs. So the first logical operator is the AND operator, which is denoted by 2 ampersand signs. The second is the OR operator, which is denoted by 2 bar signs, and the third is the NOT operator, which is denoted by an exclamation mark sign. So the AND operator will always return a true value if both the operands are true. The OR operator will return a true value even if one of the operand is true. Even if the other is false, still the value will be true. And the NOT operator will return a true if the operand is false, and it will return a false if the operand is true. That is, it is going to return the reverse value than the value of the operand. So if we look at a simple script to understand how these operators work, so if we see the first case in which we have initialized, of course we have initialized 2 variables. We say A is equal to 1 and B is equal to 0. So we know that the value 1 represents true and the value 0 represents false. So in this case we are writing document.write A and B. That is, both A and B have to be true for the value to be true. So since B is 0, that is B is false, so therefore this statement is going to return a false. In the next line we are writing A or B. So A or B means that even if one of A or B is true, it will return a true statement. So because A is equal to 1, so it is going to return a true. And in the third statement we are writing document.write not B. Since B is false, so this is going to return a value true, because not false is true. So therefore the values that it will return will be false, true and true. The output will be false, true and true. If you look at the table also, it is very clear that A and B, if both are true, then AND will return a true, OR will also return a true. If A is true but B is false, then AND will return a false and OR will return a true. If A is false and B is true, again AND will return a false but OR will return a true. And if both are false, then AND will also return a false and OR will also return a false. And the NOT operator simply does the negation or simply does the reversal of the operator that we are using. Then in JavaScript, you know, we have some very interesting statements which are used to simplify the program, to simplify the coding, to simplify the other JavaScript statements. So one of this type of statements is the with statement. Now it is used to simplify some types of JavaScript statement, because you don't have to refer to the object, and only once you need to refer to it. So basically the with statement will refer to the properties and methods within the with block and are assumed to apply to that object only. Like we will also see another operator called the this operator. This operator also will imply that whatever property and methods we are referring to is being referred to that particular object. So like the this operator, we have the with operator also, which is going to make the task very simple. So you can see in this script also, we initialize a string. Okay, so we write the value of the string could be, we can give any value to the string, and then we are writing the with statement and we are passing this string to the with statement. So this means that now whatever will be calculated within this function or within this block of statements will refer to this particular string only. So we are in the with block of statements, we are writing document.write, the string is, and we want to find out the length of the string. So we are writing the string is how many characters. So you can see here we are not using the word string.length, we are simply using length, because it is implied that we are trying to calculate the length, the method length is being used, or the property of length is being referred to is for that particular string. Likewise, we are comparing the string, we are converting the string to uppercase. So again in this case also we are using a function, that is the to uppercase function, to to convert the string into uppercase letters. So here also we are not passing any argument to the to uppercase function, because it is assumed that since it is within the block of the with statement, so the string which is being passed to the with statement only needs to be referred. So this way we save a lot of referencing, we will save a lot of extra lines of code that we may have to write for passing the reference to that particular object. So this with is a shortcut, we can say that this statement is going to reduce the effort of the programmers. Then we have the iterative loops. So we have seen that how you can control the structure, you can control the flow of program when you have the if condition, when you have a fork condition. So you can use the if, the else if and the else statements. Then we also saw the different kinds of relational operators, comparison operators that come along when you are trying to compare the values, or when you are trying to write expressions for the if statement. Now we will look at a scenario where we want for continuous execution for a block of statement. So when you want to repeat the group of statement until a specified condition is met, right? So repeat loops are very powerful programming tools, because they will allow for more efficient design of programs, and they are actually very suitable when you are working with arrays, because you have to again and again read the elements of the array. So loops are used universally in all programming languages, although some programming languages have a particular kind of loop, others may not have it. So we are going to look at the different types of loops which are provided by JavaScript. So the first and a very commonly used loop is the while loop. So the while loop is used to execute a block of code till the time a condition is true. So if you look at the example here, you can see that we are initializing a variable count. So we are saying count is equal to 0. Then we are comparing the value of count. So this is the condition that we are checking. We said that the loop will execute only till the time the condition is met. So this loop will continue only till the time the value of count is less than or equal to 10. And then we are simply printing the value of count. So we are simply writing document.write count, and then we are incrementing the value of count. So we are writing count plus plus. So when this loop will execute, how will it execute? It will initially take the value 0, it will compare 0 with 10, because the condition is true, the control will come inside the loop and it will print the value 0, and then it will increment the value of 0 to 1. Again it will go back to the first line of the loop and compare whether 1 is less than equal to 10. So again it will come inside and execute. So this is going to continue till the time the value of count comes to 10. Then when the value of 10 is printed, it will increment the value and the value will become 11. Now it will compare the value 11. So 11 is less than equal to 10. This condition is now not being met. This condition has become false. So automatically the control will come out of the loop. It will not execute within the loop. It's very important that the browsers, if you do not give the conditions for breaking or coming out of the loop correctly, you can enter into an infinite loop. That is, the same conditions, same statements will go on executing, and it is very difficult because in this case neither escape nor break will work. So your browser will get stuck, it will get hung. So therefore when loops are being used, it's very important to check the conditions that infinite loop conditions are not being created through some logical error. Then we have the do while loops. Now sometimes the programmer would require that at least once the loop needs to be executed before the condition is going to be checked, right? So in that case you will give a do while loop, because otherwise it is similar to the while loop, but in this case the expression will be checked only after the iteration has taken place. Like in case of while loop, first the condition is checked, then you enter the block and then you see if the statements will be executed. Whereas in do while loop, first at least once the statements are executed and then the condition is checked whether the condition is being met or not. So if we look at this example, it's a similar example. What we are doing is that we are initializing a count variable. So we say count is equal to 1, and then we give a block of statements to be executed in the do statement. So we give the do statement and we give a particular statement where we want to multiply, or we want to find the multiplication table of 7, and then we are, after the do statement block, then we are giving the condition in the while part. So here we are writing plus count is less than equal to 7. So plus count means that every time the loop will be executed, the value of count will be incremented and then it will be compared. So plus count is the prefix version of the plus operator. So we are using here plus count because first we want to increment the value and then we want to compare the value. So here the main difference between the while and the do while loop is that in the do while loop the statement will be executed at least once, whereas in the while loop the statement may not be executed even once if the condition is not true. So depending upon the requirement of the programmer, they may use the while loop or they may choose to use the do while loop. Then another very popular loop which is used other than the while and the do while loop is the for loop. So actually it is a combination of multiple statements or multiple constructs into a single line. So it gives you a single line looping construct, and there are 3 parameters which are passed into this loop. So first statement or the first expression is the initialization expression, the second condition expression, and the third is the modification expression. So initializing means that you are setting the first value, then you are checking for the condition, and then you are giving the increment or the decrement into the counter value. So all these 3 expressions, that is the condition, the modification and the initialization, they are all separated by semicolon. So first time the initialization expression will be executed at the start of the first iteration. Then each time around the loop, the condition expression will be tested. So after one loop is finished, it will check the condition and it will only enter into the loop if the condition is true. So only till the time the condition is being met, it will enter into the loop, and finally at the end of each iteration, the modification expression is going to be executed. So modification expression is what? Which is going to increment or decrement the value of the counter variable which you have initialized. So actually we are creating a condition and we are counting the number of times we want the loop to be executed depending on the value of the condition. So we can see here we have created a very simple loop which will print the 10 numbers, 10 natural numbers. So the first step is you will write for I is equal to 1. So this is the initialization statement in which you are initializing the counter. Then you write semicolon I is less than equal to 10. So this is the condition that you are checking. This is the test or the target value which you need, and then again after semicolon you write I plus plus, which is the modifier, that is it will update the counter after each execution of the statement within the loop. So first I is equal to 1 executes only 1, then the condition is checked every time the loop is executed, and every time the loop is executed the value is incremented or the modifier statement is going to be used. So the I plus plus is going to be used every time you are executing the loop. Then this is another statement, another way of using it. So here also we are doing the same thing, that we are initializing a variable. So we are saying count is equal to 1, we are saying count is less than equal to 7, and now we are saying plus plus count. Plus plus count, again it means it is the prefix version of the plus plus operator. So first the in plus plus count means that first the increment will take place and then the initialization will take place. So again here also we are printing the same multiplication table of 7 up to 7. So this is going to multiply the value of count with the value of count into 7. So you are giving a multiples, the first 7 multiples of the number 7 using a for loop in case of this example. Then we can also have for loops for multiple other purposes. Like for example, if you want to print the numbers, if you want to print the strings, then also you can use the document.write and you can provide the strings, right? So instead of using document.write 5 times, if you are using a loop, you will only have to write one single line. So therefore you can very easily understand how the value or how the effort in programming is largely reduced when you are using the loop. So if you want to repeat the same line n number of times, it is always better to use a loop rather than writing the same statement multiple number of times. So we already said that that the loop is going to be executed till the time it is meeting a particular condition, right? So but there can be scenarios when we would want to stop the loop's execution because we have found or we have encountered a condition where the loop no more needs to be executed. Like for example, when we are searching for some kind of match, right? So once the match is found in the array or in the set, then we don't have to continue further, right? So we don't need to waste more time. So what happens is that we will simply want to break out from the loop. So for breaking out of the loop, premature breaking out of the loop, that is even before the conditions are fully met, you want to come out of the loop, you will use the break command. So it is it is going to switch it is like a switch statement within the loop, right? So this is an example which shows how we can use the break command. So here we see that there is a variable that we have initialized, an array variable called the haystack, and in this variable we have placed the value needle at the 17th position. So what we are looking for is, we are looking at, whenever we find the word needle in the array, we are going to stop the loop. This is what the program says, that whenever the particular element is found in the array, the loop must stop executing. So what is the loop that we are running? Of course, we are running a simple for loop in which we are initializing, and because the size of the array is 20, so we are taking it as 20. So we are saying while j is less than 20, and we are saying plus plus j, that every time the value of j will be incremented, and then we are using the if statement to compare each element of the array with the word needle. So we are saying haystack index j is equal to needle. So then it will say found at location, and whichever location the needle is found, and then of course it will say break. So what will happen, as soon as the word needle is encountered, the loop will stop. It will no more search for the word in the rest of the array. Otherwise it will simply print the index. So till the time the word needle is not found, it will keep on printing the index, that is the value of j. When the needle is found, it will give the location at which it is found. So this is the output that this program is going to give. So till the time, till the index 16, the needle is not found, so it is simply printing the index, it is going into the else part. But when it reaches the index 17, of course the condition will be true, and it will print the message found at location, and because it is found at 17th location, so it will print that. So what is the idea here? The idea is to come out of the loop before actually all the iterations have been completed. Here we had put a condition in which the loop should have executed 20 times, but because the object, or because the variable, or because the search item is found at an index which is before the completion of the array, so we will break in between. So this will allow the programmer to control when exactly the loop should terminate, whether all the times, all the iterations should run, or only certain number of iterations should be run, and then the loop should come out, the loop should break. Then we also have some kind of statements in JavaScript which are also very, very important, because we need to understand that JavaScript will always be a part of an HTML file, and in HTML we know that whatever you type on the screen, it may not appear the way it is appearing in the coding. So same thing lies with JavaScript also. So in JavaScript you need to be very careful as in how the statements are going to be executed. So first we will, of course, our HTML can be, our JavaScript can be inserted into the head portion of the HTML file, or it can be in the body portion, wherever the programmer feels comfortable, he can insert it, and then you write the statement. Say for example, you write document.write, this is my first, and you put a statement for line continuation. But this statement for JavaScript, the statements are different symbols are there which you need for for different purposes, for different kinds of communication to the browser, as in what the user exactly wants. Then also within JavaScript statements we can insert some kind of HTML tags also. Like in this example you can see that we are using the h1 tag inside the HTML. When you are printing, say you are printing numbers and you want to print numbers in a new line every time, then also you can use the JavaScript's the HTML's line break, the BR tag you can use, or you can use the \n tag. So different HTML tags can also be written within the JavaScript statement. They can also be inserted within the JavaScript statement, like we are inserting it in the HTML. So, this kind of formatting can easily be done when you are using the JavaScript pages. Then you know we know that all programming languages, they also give us the feature, or they also give us the facility of using functions or using methods. So, we have already discussed that you know what are the different kinds of methods which JavaScript provides, what are the different kinds of objects which are there in the document object model, and a lot of methods which are associated with each object. Now, we also need to have a look at the different kinds of functions and how users can create, how programmers can create their own functions, so that you know they can do a lot of customization on their page. So, for this purpose, there is a collection of functions that we are going to discuss. So, these functions will be user defined functions, which may sometimes also use the predefined methods of the language. So, we will be talking in detail about JavaScript functions in the following lecture. Please keep watching CEC till then. Thank you.